In 1936, Bill Powers began his lifelong educational journey at Liberty Elementary School in Coweta, Oklahoma. He graduated from Coweta High School in 1948 and received several scholarships to study at Oklahoma State University. Bill graduated with a degree in vocational agriculture in 1953. He later received a master's degree in vocational agriculture and higher education from OSU. He also attended the University of Tulsa, Oregon State University, and the University of Kentucky. Bill's first job in education was teaching vocational agriculture at Mountain Park, Oklahoma. In 1958, he moved to Stillwater High School, where he taught vocational agriculture. A year later, Bill began working at OSU as Assistant Dean of Men and Assistant Director of Counseling. Bill later moved to Eastern Oklahoma A&M College and then to the Oklahoma Department of Vocational Technical Education as State Supervisor of Technical Education and Assistant State Coordinator of Area Vocational Technical Education. In 1968, Bill left the state agency to become Superintendent of Kiamichi Area Votech School. At Kiamichi, Bill took on the challenge of developing and directing the first multiple campus Votech system in the nation. Bill served as Kiamichi Superintendent for 27 years. During his tenure, the school expanded from 3 sites at McAllister, Hugo, and Poto to add locations at Atoka, Durant, Idabel, Spiro, Stigler, and Tallahena. When Bill retired in 1995, he was the longest-serving administrator at a technology center. He and his wife Lois now live in Broken Arrow. Bill has been enjoying his retirement, fishing, golfing, and playing with his grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate Bill Powers, a pioneer in career tech education.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a meeting of the elite of all of Oklahoma, isn't it? It's a real pleasure to be here on such an occasion as this and to celebrate the success of such a great program. As you watch the screen, you see a lot of the history when we were introducing Bill Powers. I noticed Wes Watkins was there numerous times, and you know, they're a lot alike. They're both pretty busy all the time. A lot of people sum Bill up as saying he's just a human dynamo. I thought for a long time he was an empire builder. He came down in Kiamichi country. We knew what a Votech was, we thought we did, but we'd never seen one. And he taught us what it was all about. Wes, you remember this, you were down there with Keto then, and conducting elections all over the area because we had to have an election to be able to sell some bonds to build some buildings. And Bill Powers put together the organization to do that, and the first thing he did is build the first multi-campus Votech district in Oklahoma. He's always been a trailblazer. And he started out with McAllister, Poto, and Hugo. They were quite a way apart. Matter of fact, they were 100 miles apart. And then he went from there. And he built the largest Votech district in the whole world. And I don't care where you were in that part of Oklahoma, you had to help him build it. Because he demanded that you pay attention. I can remember when we licensed people to carry a gun. And Bill was worried. He notices everything that goes around him. And he noticed that my wife, who run a store, come by a school over there taking her money to the bank, and he got worried about a robber robbing her. So one night we were sitting at home watching television, the first time I'd ever seen a carjacking. We saw it, my wife and I, and it kind of concerned me. I said, you know, Bill Powers may be right. You might ought to carry a gun. Well, to carry a gun, you got to have a school. You got to take a course. Guess where the course was started? And my wife enjoyed it, and she got her gun, and she felt secure, and she'd carry the money to the bank and not worry. She went shopping down in Dallas, big shopping center. And lo and behold, she come out of that mall and looked out there, and there were those same guys, looked like the same carjackers in her car. So she knew what to do. So she reached in her purse and out with her gun, and those guys almost tore the door off the car, heading out the other direction. Then she started to fit her key in there, and it didn't fit. Her car was 3 rows down. Let me tell you about my friend Bill Powers. He's not a worrywart, but he is a constant reminder. Every session of the legislature, I can't count them all, but there are a few special ones like we're having now, except they were a little more productive, I think. But Bill always had ample needs at the beginning of the session. But one thing you could set your clock by. In the last 30 days, Bill was going to discover a terrible emergency that had to be taken care of this session. It couldn't wait. Well, we all got used to it, everybody in Comiskey District, and they just, I think it's 14 counties now, Bill, maybe 15, but no question it's the largest district in the world. That makes him a world champion, doesn't it? That kind of sums up Bill Powers. He would not be anything else. I'll tell you this, he's really enjoying those grandchildren. He introduced me to his grandson 4 times tonight. And I don't blame him. He's a good-looking guy. And I'd be proud of him, too. You know, to know Bill Powers is to know somebody real special. You'd think he was always in a hurry. Not really. That's his normal pace. I have known a lot of people in public life, having served in it a long time. I've never known anybody as dynamic as Bill Powers. I've never known anybody more dedicated than Bill Powers. He really believed that every child ought to have the best opportunity, the best education possible in the whole world. And he worked at it all of his life. And because of him and his work, Oklahoma, all of Oklahoma is a better place. You know, he understood what Winston Churchill was talking about when he made the most famous commencement speech in history to his alma mater. And it was 3 words, and they epitomized my friend Bill Powers. He said, don't ever give up, don't ever give up, don't ever give up. Bill Powers has never given up. He's still there. He's still achieving. It's my privilege to be a party to inducting him in the significant honor and being received in this great Hall of Fame.
The good book says that there is a friend. And oh, what a friend. One that will be with you stick with you in all conditions. Senator, you've been that kind of friend for 30 years, and I want you to know it. I accept this honor for Senator Stipe and mine and what he's done and helped Kiamichi Votech over the years, and for all vocational education, as far as that's concerned. Several years ago, Dr. Tuttle called me early one morning and said, Bill, I've batted out at legislature with the legislation part of the money for the Moore Norman Votech School. He said, I talked with all the people who are in charge of supposed to be keeping watch over the Votech budget. And he said, I've thought about this, and about the only fellow that I know that can turn that Votech around this late in the ball game is Senator Stipe. And you have a good relationship with him. Would you mind going and talking with him? I said, no, I'd be happy to. So I said, you meet me in Stipe's office or right outside his office. So Dr. Tuttle went from Stillwater to McAllister, and me from Wilburton to Oklahoma City. And as we walked into his office, his secretary wasn't there right at that very moment. So I peeped around the corner to see if the senator was there. And he was there, working diligently, and I motioned for Dr. Tuttle, come on in. We walked up before Senator Stipe's office, where he was sitting, and we never did sit down. And I said, Senator, Dr. Tuttle got a problem. Nobody will give him any hope whatever of approving that $1 million that's needed for the Moore Norman Votech School. Now, there was a certain agreement among the legislators and the governor at the time that a certain portion of that money is supposed to go to those Votech schools to help. And I said, Dr. Tuttle has done his best to try to bring everything together, and there's going to be a school that's going to be finished at the end of this school year and ready to be opened, and there is no equipment money. And at that moment, he didn't say, well, why didn't you come to me and talk to me before? Why didn't this? Why didn't that? Senator Stipe just looked forward ahead right at me and he said, I'll take care of it. He didn't say, I'll try, I'll this. He just said, I'll take care of it. I turned to Dr. Tuttle and I said, Dr. Tuttle, Senator Stipe said he'd take care of it. We just rather go home, go back to work. Dr. Tuttle got his money, thanks to Senator Stipe. I could tell you stories like this for a long time. In 30 years, he's already told you I had a want list every year at the school. And how he fulfilled all of those without ever turning me down, I'll never know. One time I asked, well, part of the time I know. One time I asked him for $200,000 to help on a particular project, and it would be matched with federal money. And he run into a buzzsaw. So Senator just backed up a little bit, waited until the timing was right. He waited until they wanted to go home the week before the final day of the meetings before the legislature closed. And right at about 5 o'clock, he got a hold of that that amplifier, and he started an all-night filibuster. So I was called and told, you stay on that phone, by the secretary, said, you stay on that phone if you have to stay there all night. That's what the senator said. I said, well, whatever that senator said, that's what I'll do. And in about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, he had managed to persuade those legislators to swing over, and he had 3 votes on the Senate side. On Monday, he got back to the Capitol building, and he started working the hallways of the House of Representatives. And when they called a vote on that side, he had won it by 17 votes. Now, that's the kind of senator that we've had, not only for me, but for Votech in many, many different ways, as Charlotte Garrett and R.L. can tell you. All right, now, in accepting this, I want to give praise and thanks to Wes Watkins and Dr. Baker for all their help, also for the incubators. Wes, I want to thank individuals like Ralph Dreesen and Dr. Price, and I don't remember seeing Dr. Price here today, but they were instrumental in me obtaining my first job out of college. And of course, Dr. Tuttle, bless his heart, if he's listening in, I hope he'll forgive me and have the patience of, as Senator Stipe did, of knowing that here's a fellow that doesn't always use good judgment when he should, in a way, but he's trying. That's what Dr. Tuttle always said about me. Hi, Lou. I hadn't noticed you back there. Well, Senator, I'm going to close out with this little thing I put together. I thank God for you, great friend of mine. Seldom is friendship such as thine. How very much I wish to be as helpful to you as you've been to me. I thank God for you. When I recall from time to time how you inspired this heart of mine, I find myself inclined to pray. God bless my friend this very day. I thank God for you. And in closing, someday I hope with you to stand before the throne at God's right hand and say to you at journey's end, praise God, you've been to me a friend. I truly thank God for you. Thank you.